Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman of the Football History Dude podcast, and I'm stopping by this show real quick to tell you about a couple of cool giveaways that we have going on here at the network. Both are autographed books covering various topics of the NFL. The first is The Point After: How One Resilient Kicker Learned There Is More to Life Than the NFL by ex-NFL kicker Sean Conley. It goes over his unique experience as a walk-on kicker at the University of Pitt after never playing high school football. And then it gets into some of his time playing for NFL teams and so much more beyond the gridiron. The other is from author Kevin Bryant. His book is titled Spies on the Sidelines: The High-Stakes World of NFL Espionage. This book started as a curiosity, kind of a passion project to understand everything revolving around, well, Spygate. But this put Kevin down a rabbit hole learning about all sorts of espionage that has occurred throughout the history of the NFL. Both permissible and often the illicit techniques of gathering intel to try to impact the outcome of the game. To sign up for your chance to win an autographed copy of one of these books, all you gotta do is head over to sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways and sign up. That's sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. Again, check out all the other podcasts that we have in the Sports History Network as well. But now, back to your regularly scheduled journey to the sports history timeline.
One early pro football team that we have not recorded much on the history of is the Canton Bulldogs. We start our multi-episode look at this extremely important team in gridiron history with our origin and taking them into some early years of playing football professionally. It's all coming up with the Canton Bulldogs in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with PigskinDispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pigpen, your portal to positive football history. And we are back in our early roots of professional football teams. And we're going to talk about one of the big guys, one of the ones that might be the most famous of them all, the Canton Bulldogs. Yeah, the Canton Bulldogs may be the most well-recognized of all the now defunct National Football League franchises. After all, it was a former owner of theirs, Ralph Hay, that hosted a series of meetings in 1920 that ultimately started the National Football League. But how did the Canton 11 come about, and what's their story? Well, that's some answers that we plan on trying to answer for you today, at least the origin story. Well, the story of the Canton Bulldogs starts back in 1903. If you remember back to some previous articles that we posted, it was right about this time in history when professional football started migrating across the Pennsylvania state line into Ohio. But we can go maybe even back further than that, because prior to gridiron players getting paid in Canton, the city supported and sported a very strong amateur team. A PFRA 1987 post claims that the Cantons were playing some good football as early as 1892. In the same PFRA post, they show that the Canton Athletic Club sent out its first football team by that name in the year 1895. And from the late 1890s to about 1902, the Stark County 11 team completed with some of the big teams of that time, the Akron East Ends, and others for Ohio Independent Championships. Now, however, the success of these amateurs faded when the Massillon Tigers arrived on the scene of football and soon went to the route of paying their players to make them a professional ball club. While the athletic clubs and associations that have been providing avenues for young men to spend their disposable income and extra leisure time since the Civil War were now escalating competition in the Howe, a region of each other to see who could be the more dominant team on the gridiron. These contests transitions from bragging rights to all-out gambling incursions, which put pressure on team managers to fuel getting better players to send out to represent their clubs. Massillon, sitting not too far from Canton, 8 miles away, had a spirited high school rivalry with their neighbors, as we discussed with historian and local Canton resident George Bozica back in the year 2021 in an interview on Pigskin Dispatch. Now, Massillon was the first to flex their muscle in the local area as they gained superiority over Akron and Canton and others by hiring gridiron mercenaries such as Pittsburgh professionals like Bob Shiring. Some say that they were paid players for the athletic club as early as 1903, but officially Canton established on November 15, 1904, a pro gridiron association as the Canton Athletic Club. Canton AC was designed to operate baseball and football teams, and a public announcement stated that the football team was to be a professional organization, in quotes, complete with, quote, professional coach, end quote. The Massillon Tigers had won the Ohio League Championship in 1903 and 1904, that mythical league where mostly Ohio teams played. And this did not sit well with the folks in Canton. Local Canton businessmen George Williams and John Rommel rallied support to defend their city's reputation on the gridiron versus Massillon. They spearheaded a group that decided that they must build a pro championship team of their own, and more important, knock Massillon from its high horse on the gridiron. The men convinced their colleagues that building a winning football program and staying on top of Massillon were both great for business and the local Canton economy, as well as civic pride. So Williams was assigned as the manager of the Canton AC, and he was charged with fielding a team of not only to compete with the likes of Massillon, but to defeat them. To do this, Canton went out and offered money to the best players on all the other Ohio teams. First, they gathered up funding and hired their first ever paid coach, Bill Lobb, who was poached from rival Akron East Ends in that squad that they were competing with. In 1905, Lobb led the Canton AC to a fast start with a 7-0 record. He then led his squad east into Pennsylvania to face one of the top teams in the nation, the Latrobe Athletic Club, and their quarterback, John Brailer. Now, that name may sound very familiar, and if you remember, Brailer was for the longest time considered to be the first paid professional football player until evidence of an early payout to Pudge Heffelfinger disproved his claim. Well, Latrobe played tough at home and gave Canton 11 their first setback of 1905 by the score of 6-0. And this was not only the only negative that came out of this contest, as Lobb, their coach and best player, was injured in a tough-fought game and would miss the rest of the season. So, in steps former Penn Quaker star and an All-American and former Pennsylvania Pro Pigskin stalwart Blondie Wallace. He took over as the leader of the club team on the field. This transition was somewhat of an auspicious beginning for professional football in that region. Just a couple weeks later, the Massillon Tigers would defeat the Canton 11 14-4 to capture yet again another Ohio State Championship title, third in a row for Massillon. The next year, this Canton team had somewhat of an identity shift as they adopted the Bulldog as their mascot moniker. Now, no one is totally clear on where the Bulldog came from in association with the Canton team, but whatever the reason, the tenacity of a Bulldog was befitting of the team. This tenacity of the team, along with the win-at-all-costs attitudes of Williams and Wallace, would propel professional football into one of its darkest times in history. We'll take a look at this saga of 1906 in part 2 of the Canton Bulldogs, coming soon here on PigskinDispatch.com, and our look at early professional football teams. But don't worry, we have football history coming to you each and every day. So stay tuned. We're going to have some great, exciting things. Our next episode is going to have our good friend Timothy P. Brown, the author and historian from football archaeology, coming to talk about one of his little tidbit topics that I think you might be quite astonished at, with something to do with the field, the playing field, and a great contribution there. And I don't think you want to miss that, because it's going to be a good one. So till tomorrow, everybody, have a great gridiron day. Peeking up at the clock, the time's running down. We're going to go into victory formation, take a knee, and let this baby run out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow for the next podcast. we invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. A special thanks to the talents of Mike and Jean Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so it
retro
was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
clapboards.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.